Welcome to Progressive Independence. I'm Michael Wilk in Cleveland. The Hunter Biden scandal is not going away as Democrats had hoped. As you may recall from the previous dictatorial debate between Caligula Drumpf and handsy Joe Biden, the Ukraine scandal, for which Drumpf was impeached on false charges last year, was brought up again in reference to Biden's own corruption, and it is pretty deep. The social media outlets Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook have engaged in a concerted effort to suppress the story. Meanwhile, the New York Post, Fox News Channel, and other outlets have been reporting on this only to face censorship themselves. And I fully expect this video to be flagged and possibly removed, but we'll see what happens. But here's an interesting thing. This thing was starting to be reported as early as last year, and I will go ahead and point you to The Hill. And this is by John Solomon. It is published September 26th, 2019. And editor's note, John Solomon's columns regarding Ukraine became a subject of the House Intelligence Committee's impeachment inquiry against Caligula Drumpf. Any updated information can be found at the end of the column. Former Vice Dictator Joe Biden, now the 2020 Democrat dictatorial nominee, after they rigged the nomination process, has locked into a specific story about the controversy in Ukraine. He claims, falsely, that in spring 2016 he strong-armed Ukraine to fire its chief prosecutor solely because Biden believed that official was corrupt and inept, not because the Ukrainian was investigating a natural gas company, Burisma Holdings, that hired Biden's son Hunter into a lucrative job for which he was completely unqualified. There's just one problem. Hundreds of pages of never-released memos and documents, many from inside the American team, helping Burisma to stave off its legal troubles, conflict with Biden's narrative, and they raise the troubling prospect that United States officials may have painted a false picture in Ukraine that helped ease Burisma's legal troubles and stop prosecutors' plans to interview Hunter Biden during the 2016 election. And that is not all. Also last year, Max Blumenthal at the Gray Zone reported about the shady goings-on with regards to the Atlantic Council. Yeah, the shady arrangement between the Atlantic Council and Burisma, the gas company at the center of the Ukraine Gate scandal, is just one dubious deal out of many at a DC think tank that has become a clearinghouse for legal corruption. So, with its relentless focus on corruption in Russia and Ukraine, the Atlantic Council has distinguished itself from other top-flight think tanks in Washington. Over the past several years, it has held innumerable conferences and panel discussions, issued a string of reports, and published literally hundreds of essays on Russia's kleptocracy and the scourge of Kremlin disinformation. At the same time, this institution has posed as a faithful partner to Ukraine's imperiled democracy, organizing countless programs on the urgency of economic reforms to tamp down on corruption in the country. Except it did the exact opposite. Basically, as Biden parries Trump's accusations, some of the former vice dictator's most ardent defenders are emerging from the halls of the Atlantic Council, basically to defend him. But behind the curtain, the Atlantic Council has initiated a lucrative relationship with a corruption-tainted Ukrainian gas company, the Burisma Group, that is worth as much as $250,000 a year. The partnership has paid for lavish conferences in Monaco and helped bring Burisma's oligarchic founder out of the cold. And that is not all, because Hunter Biden's business partner has come forward saying that, contrary to what Joe Biden claims, he did, in fact, know everything about his son's corruption because he set his son up to do all this. Hunter Biden's business partner. Let's go ahead and click on the link here. All right, Hunter Biden's business partner. His dad knew about payments. Hunter Biden's business partner, Tony Bobulinski. Polish with an SKI, not Russian, in case you decide you want to go ahead and start lobbing false accusations here. But he says Biden's son took payment from foreign entities, including a Chinese company and, of course, Burisma. Bobulinski released a letter to the New York Post claiming Hunter Biden called his dad the big guy, or my chairman, according to Bobulinski's statement to the New York Post. which I'm going to go ahead and play for you right here. Now, keep in mind this is Fox Noise, but that doesn't necessarily just prove what's happening.
To protect my family name and my business reputation, I need to ensure that the true facts are out there. In late 2015, I was approached by James Gillier, whom I had known for many years, about joining him in a deal which he said would involve the Chinese state-owned enterprise CEFC China Energy and what he called one of the most prominent families in the United States. I was informed first by Gillier and then by Hunter Biden and by Rob Walker, who was working with the Bidens, that the Bidens wanted to form a new entity with CFC, which was to invest in infrastructure, real estate, and technology in the U.S. and around the world. And the entity would initially be capitalized with $10 million and then grow to billions of dollars of investment capital. After months of discussion, I agreed at Gillier and Hunter Biden's request to become CEO of the entity to be called Sinohawk. Sino representing the Chinese side, Hawk representing Hunter Biden's brother Bo's favorite animal. And between February and May 2017, we exchanged numerous emails, documents, and WhatsApp messages concerning Sinohawk and its potential business. On May 2nd, 2017, the night before Joe Biden was to appear at the Milken Conference, I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. At my approximately hour-long meeting with Joe that night, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden's family business plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level. After that meeting, I had numerous communications with Hunter, Walker, Gillier, and Jim Biden regarding the allocation of the equity ownership of Sinohawk. On May 13, 2017, I received an email concerning allocation of equity, which says 10% held by H for the big guy. In that email, there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden.
All right, so I'll let you watch the rest of the video. All of this is going to be linked to in the description below. But basically, yeah, Hunter Biden's business partner has thrown him under the bus. And we're going to go ahead and get to a new development in the story because, as it turns out, according to Real Clear Politics, leaked audio has now also been disclosed, confirming that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were in this up to their eyeballs. Leaked audio, Hunter Biden discussing business deals with the spy chief of China, posted by Tim Haines on October 28th, 2020, which is today. Audio evidence of Hunter Biden admitting to being in a partisan partnership with the spy chief of China, and he admits his father knew. CNN ran with Melania's secret tapes. Will they cover this? So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty damning. Raheem Kassam of the National Pulse leaked this audio from Hunter Biden's laptop, which is reportedly now in the possession of the FBI. Kassam writes, Hunter Biden, in an audio file labeled most genius shit ever, appears to be referencing Patrick Ho, who was a former Secretary for Home Affairs in Hong Kong, is a spy chief of China, while lamenting how his business partner Yi Jianming of CEFC China Energy had disappeared. Hunter Biden, I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling, but my old partner Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of Patrick Ho, the fucking spy chief of China who started the company that my partner, who is worth $323 billion, founded and is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing, who was my partner. He was missing since I last saw him in his $58 million apartment inside a $4 billion deal to build the fucking largest LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York from the United States Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devon, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me. So, yeah, this is pretty damning because 1 week before the November 3rd election, that will determine whether Caligula Trump stays in another 4 years, and let's face it, he probably will, or whether Joe Biden becomes the new dictator of the United States, free to molest little girls at his leisure, while Kamala Harris basically runs the country for him. Yeah, this is pretty bad. So let me go ahead and call this up, because we have Biden himself boasting that he had gotten the prosecutor fired. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
I remember going over convincing our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Yeah. So that was recorded in 2016, and Joe Biden basically admitting that he had gotten the prosecutor fired. So it's not like he has any room to deny this. It's on video. Nevertheless, never let it be said that even being caught on video is enough to convict Biden on anything, because people will make excuses and deny anything he does. But I need to show you something real quick.
All right, we got up top here. Look up there.
Okay, out there.
Great.
Great.
Okay, got some more family. Come on in. Yeah, we got a crowd.
Can we get some over here?
Sure.
Okay.
Someone go behind there. Okay, got some more family. Come on in. Yeah, we got a crowd.
Can we get some over here?
Sure.
Okay.
Someone go behind there. Okay, got some more family. Come on in. Yeah, we got a crowd.
Can we get some over here?
Sure.
Okay.
Someone go behind there. Okay, got some more family. Come on in. Yeah, we got a crowd.
Can we get some over here?
Sure. Someone go behind there.
Here we've got Joe Biden swearing in Senator Steve Daines of Montana, who's there with his family, the Daines-Piaccese family. And this shows how Joe Biden is a master of misdirection. First, he tells the family to look up to distract them before the pinching, and then as he's pinching, he says no serious dates till you're 30. Right now you see his hand on her right shoulder, and then it moves down to her right breast as he forms a pinching shape, and then he pinches. Well, he says no serious dates until you're 30, causing her eyes to bug out. She steps to the left. She looks back and forth for someone to help and to see if anyone saw him do it. She's looking for someone to help her. See what Biden did? He got everyone to look up. He distracted them. And then while he's pinching the girl, he says, no serious dates until you're 30, causing another relative of the girl to laugh. So he's got everyone distracted. Everyone thinks he's this funny, nice, affectionate guy. He pinched this girl. He molested this girl live on TV.
Remember what I told you last time I saw you? Do you remember what I told you? No, not smile. No, aim till you're 30. All right.
Yeah, this is the degenerate that we're being ordered to vote for next week. A senile child molester and serial rapist who is corrupt to his core, extreme right wing, and would be an even worse warmonger than Caligula Drumpf. So this is the state that we're in, no thanks to Democrats. I'm going to have more on this story. Good night and good luck.